Okay, now let's introduce some practical and helpful operators from the modeling department. That is quite relative because the operators which belongs to modeling partly also can belong to spline or polygon operations, and some of these operators can work with both of them. So that's why I put it to the modeling. But okay, that's very useful and common operators. So let's start. First, let's introduce Boolean. That operator is very common for every 3D modeling software, and we have it in TouchDesigner too. So let's make some shape. Let's say a sphere, and let's make some torus. And let's make a Boolean operation. So if I connect both these shapes, it will produce error because in TouchDesigner Boolean only works with polygonal shapes. So that operator has two inputs, object A and object B, and both of them should be polygonal. So let's turn it to polygon. Now it produces error, object B is not polygonal, so I make it polygonal too. And now voila, it starts to work. So let's check what kind of options we have. Basically, it's not so much. We can produce union, intersect, and A minus B, B minus A, and A edge, which is quite practical, and B edge. That's all. So, for example, we want to have A minus B. Then we can interpolate attributes, and also very practical parameter is create groups. And then after that, all polygons which were coming from the object A will be saved in group called A, and from the object B in group called B, which we can use later, for example, for different materials, etc. So that's all, basically, not too much to say. So let's create attribute create and post compute normal so it looks better. Sometimes Boolean can produce errors. Then it makes sense to move objects a bit or change a bit the topology. That's the only thing I want to add. Okay, next operation I want to speak about is Carve. Carve is very practical. So let's imagine some different cases. First case, we want to animate some 2D shape, let's say circle. And let's make that circle open arc. And using Carve, we can animate U and V. So we can cut it from both sides. This is very cool for working with splines. We can even imagine to make some text and apply that Carve operation, but we should have the splines. So output closed polygons or open polygons, and then we can easily create very nice animation of text. That's the second case. Then if we go to method, there are some different methods of carve. So we can cut or extract. So using extract, we extract the carving points, and then we can use it for copying some geometry or for different effects. So for example, you can combine that two things together. So on one side you do cut, on second side you do extract, and then you render it as a particles which are glowing, etc. And what is cool, Carve is also working not only on splines, it works also on the shapes. Let's imagine two different cases. First case, let's make a grid which I convert to the spline grid, for example NURBS. Then if I take carve operation, I can carve that shape. So I can use U and V carve, and then also V carve, so from both sides. So we can appear the geometry. and that red line shows us the rest of geometry. So then if I copy and paste that, so let me make it on the side and choose then extract method, it will extract some lines. So here we can choose what we extract. Extract 3D isometric curves, 2D isoparametric profiles, or extract points. Then breakpoints and divisions. So there are a bunch of options. Okay, so let's keep inside. We can even keep outside to cut the part inside. Then how that operator works if we apply it for the polygonal geometry. Let's make, for example, a sphere and make it polygon and apply the carve operation on it. In that case, it imagine that every polygon is kind of closed polygon lines. So basically we can make that kind of appearing of wireframe. Or in simple case, if you just enable first U, for example, in 0, we can easily turn that to geometrical wireframe. Clip operation is very simple. We can create any geometry. Let's make a torus. And then using clip, we can cut it. Very simple and very practical. The geometry should be polygonal. And then using that plane, we can make the orientation by vector and delete primitives above the plane or below the plane. We can also keep all primitives, and then that will just produce the split line. And then it can also produce the groups above plane or below plane. So then in that case, we can delete that geometry above plane and delete non-selected for above plane. So that way we can cut some geometry, some small mention in Houdini. That operator is called knife.